Why is everybody bombing each other? Do you think that? Are we in the World War III?
It's a complex problem, but we have constantly been in a state of warfare in multiple domains. Warfare is not just on the battlefield between war rifles or missiles. It's how the information and economies are set to create conditions that could spark war between this great superpowers.
This is Modern 9 to 5. We have another special guest, and my co-host Rezi is going to introduce him right now.
Oh, thank you. Typically, we are really forbidden to say a lot of stuff, but today's guest indeed is really special because he's a strategic partner for intelligence solutions at Semantic Visions, who also brings over 15 years of experience in that field. Which is extremely large experience, to be honest.
By the way, I forgot to mention that he's Jake's good buddy, colleague. You remember Jake, our beloved guest and friend, the guy with the chocha, talking about different stuff, how we can protect ourselves from Russian aggression and stuff like that.
True.
And they used to work together.
Yeah, and basically what brings him to our beloved country and what he actually does is something that we're going to find out together. So welcome to Modern 9 to 5, Kyle. It's good to have you here. And cheers.
Cheers. Welcome,
Cheers.
Kyle.
Thank you.
Say hi to the to the audience.
Thank you. How's it going, audience? My name is Kile Sears, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, he's here from Bangkok right now. Thanks, bro. Alrighty, now how this usually goes is, Kyle, we'll let you talk a few things about your background, what you do. Some of the stuff that we were asking you, it's actually not as easy to understand for a regular person because your experience is very cool and very complicated.
Unique, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, business and intelligence, for example. What the hell does that mean on layman's term? You can explain that to us. Then what you have been doing, who do you work for right now? How come you work remotely? By the way, he is in contact. He knows in person the Czech Republic's president.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If we are allowed to say that.
Oh, yes, no problem.
That's all right, right? Well, he's actually very competent, and he can give the kind of overview about, what the hell is going on around the world nowadays. Why is everybody bombing each other? Is there something to it? Is it just business? Is it real? Like, do we think, are we in the World War III? Do you think that? Are we in the World War III?
It's a complex problem, but we have constantly been in a state of warfare in multiple domains. Warfare is not just on the battlefield between war rifles or missiles. It's how the information and economies are set to create conditions that could spark war between this great superpowers that exist or the people that are in power that are behind the scenes that we don't really know about too well.
Yeah, I like that you gave a bit of description and explanation what warfare means, and please go ahead with that same exact style.
Yes, no worries. And just to set more foundation. So yes, 15 years U.S. Army, started infantry, held a sniper slot, moved to intelligence, retired last year in 2025. I did do defense contracting for 3 4-letter agencies, the Pentagon, and then now I do private work with a Czech company called Semantic Visions. They focus on open source intelligence. And this works for enterprises, primes, governments, MODs, because now that AI is here, because it's OSINT with AI, it changes how intelligence analyst is conducted. And we can talk about that later. But full disclosure, my comments and opinions do not represent the U.S., Europe, President Pavel, or any other folks other than my own. And I want to make sure I stay respectful with that.
Yeah, no worries about that. We can cut some stuff out, but also, like, we're really attention whores. So basically, if something very interesting, we'll spread it all around. So be careful with your wording. Kidding. You can say whatever you want. I asked you this several times before we started this, but what does this company actually do? Like, who is a regular customer? Let's say I'm your client. What do I buy from you?
Yeah, sure. So it's not just me selling like something that's like a tool. With AI, Intel process has become much more progressive because the information environment was so vast, so much noise, so much fake articles, unstructured data, that it was hard for a team to work on. It would be very expensive and more time collecting and triaging, like where does this article sit or this blog sit. Now with AI, we're able to train it and at scale and scope it down so that these risk signals that can be used for commercial, your business supply chain, or defense industrial base. For the US, they would care about China components in their supply chain for their aircraft fighters. We can now make this visible and inform ministries, whether that's procurement, acquisitions, interior, or Ministry of Defense, inform them of it. This is important so much so that last year, the U.S. published an article. It's called the U.S. Government Accountability Office of July 2025 said, we can only see 30% of our entire defense ecosystem supply chain. That's a problem for joint ventures. That's a problem for capital investment. That's a problem for your defense systems because that makes it vulnerable to large states that can penetrate critical infrastructure. And that gets into how smaller states like Georgia can defend itself against a larger enemy. And we can get into that later for sure.
Yeah. I have to be I still don't understand. Like, what visibility does it give you? Okay, so
yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yeah.
Ukraine had two companies. Gosh, don't recall the names, but they were 50% of the world's ultra rare pure neon gas. This neon gas was used to make lasers that etch wafers that make semiconductors. We already know the world has a shortage on semiconductors, especially with OpenAI hoarding them, right? With their AI models in China too. But companies had these two Ukrainian companies as a tier 2 or tier 3 entity supplying them semiconductors. Lasers are used on LiDAR technology. Lasers are used on weapons, aircraft. Without it, they don't function. So when a company says, I don't have Russia in my supply chain, I'm clear, I can supply your semiconductors without problem. That's not true because that Ukrainian company, although their intention and they're saying, yes, we don't use Russia stuff, the neon gas was a byproduct of Russian steel. That's how they made it.
So they
through a chemical process
got in trouble once they started the war. So they did not know that they were dependent on the Russian production.
Yes, yes, and that's just that's called the tier 3 latent supply chain risk. That's a critical commodity dependency on the gas because it layers it down, and we don't see that deep. And it's not just mapping it out because contracts change, geopolitics change. Joint ventures, company structure, executives change. And at that time, when the U.S. faced this shortage with those two Ukrainian companies, because they went out of business at the war, their immediate alternative supplier was their best friend, China. And then two other countries, right?
Yeah.
This is a problem. And that's something that Semantic Visions is able to make clear so your ministers and governments and presidents can make strategic changes,
right,
and be resilient.
So
now I think I'm starting to understand.
If I understood correctly, I mean, basically what you're doing is understanding the information on the deepest level, and then just before any action will start, just this information should be taken into consideration. Am I right or no?
Excellent. And Jake would, just like in military, Jake is an operations officer, infantry officer. They decide plans and movement and taskings of units. That is their authority. That is their key critical task. It is my task, used to be, as an military intelligence officer, was to define the operational environment. This is the map. This is our battlefield. This is where the enemy is. This is where the rivers, the mountains, and then where I think the artillery is. Now make plans very clearly and accurately based on actual identified obstacles. Without that, you're guessing.
Okay. Yeah. And so to understand that correctly, your company does provide that service. Like, how much deeper do you guys go? Like, or how do you even have access? Like, you mentioned AI, but all right, don't you need to have like someone there to actually let's say, like the company, whoever is hiring you, they have to give access on like everything. You sound like a consultant, right? Like you dig into their operations and then you find these gaps, and you basically then give them recommendations. Okay, you have this critical dependency on this guys, those guys, and you need to do something about it. Is it something like this, or?
Yeah, so the company are data folks. They're linguists, they're machine learned ML scientists, data analysts, typical tech company. It's my job to translate that data into intelligence decision advantage. So they aggregate these layers of data that the AI has collected and triaged based on, weights, proprietary information that the company has. And it sorts it into structured intelligence signals. You just put it together based on the use case, and they can answer questions. Intel is not secrets and espionage. It's basically research and discovery. Variety of use cases for open source. This is geopolitical risk signals. This is commodity. You want to know where your lithium's coming into your country. Like Japan cares about lithium and silicon. Et cetera, yeah.
It sounds like a very advanced AI model, but for specific, like very critical tasks. But it's not just for defense, right? Like your client can be just a regular business who is trying to scale, and like they want to know, like, if you went there and if you took their unpolished data and if you fed this to your AI, then you would create some actionable steps, right?
Right, because there's a differentiation between raw data providers and then like the intelligence engine. Semantic Vision sits at that engine phase. You see these different tools like Babel Street, Data Miner, Recorded Future, they deal with cyber threat intelligence. They have an engine behind the platform that shows the pretty pictures and bells and whistles and features. That's the engine intelligence infrastructure that an algorithm's putting together to produce insights for ministers and analysts to easy click and grab. That infrastructure, that engine behind the platform is what lasts over time. Could platforms change? Salesforce is new. They didn't create a new model. They just injected this data and visualized it in a certain way. Who did it before that? Before them, there was another company. They were attempting to do it.
I wouldn't say I love Salesforce, though. It's an important tool, but, it's not even the prettiest one. Like usually, like stuff that gets into Salesforce, you still need to visualize those. Like you need to take those somewhere, like either in Looker or somewhere, and then you need to make it pretty.
AWS is a perfect example of infrastructure and intelligent infrastructure. Everyone uses it for data storage, data transfer, et cetera, et cetera. These things last over time, but they're in the back. They're under the table. No one knows what AWS really does. Well, we might. What it really does for all these different platforms that use it. AWS will not change, not soon, maybe in a long time. But the platforms that use it do. Yeah.
All right, that's really interesting.
Yeah, you're a tech bro, basically, with an army background or something like that.
A tech bro, huh? Oh, jeez. I forgot my
laptop.
My quarter zip, yeah.
How did you choose that path? I mean, was it something, the army, is it because, from the family, or it's something just you wanted to?
Okay. Taking it back. All right, so
let's go back to U.S. Like I believe you're from Chicago, also, like Jake. Or?
I tell everyone Chicago unless they've been to United States, because it's actually Indiana. I'm repping Hoosier boys from the U.S. Right, but it's called the region, which is Northwest Indiana, basically Chicago. When I tell people Indiana, they think cornfield, Indianapolis. No, not quite. But when I turned 18, I just had a dream of self-improvement, basically what it was, self-challenge and finding my identity of who I was. And then, serving my country, being a patriot as well, and its education benefits.
Are you still patriot? Have you kept that?
Of course. It's been ingrained, right? I have my trauma with it too.
Yeah, not to make any assumptions. It's just, tough love, love, hate, one step away always.
Yeah, the First Amendment is great in the United States, even with censorship around the corner. But by the tech folks, not by the U.S. government, maybe. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so let's talk more about that. Like before you got to this cool AI company, what was going on? Like the army stuff, the U.S. How old were you when you left first?
Like when I went to join the military?
No. That, and also like when you left the country.
Yeah, so about 19, I picked infantry. I wanted the hardest one. Passed it. And then I wanted to get my education, and I branched into Intel instead of going back to infantry because I needed another skill set. Because when there's no war, and infantry does really two things: security as one, and what's the other one? Bodyguard, executive protection.
Have you been a bodyguard also?
I've done security and private investigations, but no, I wanted to get more analytical, and then I think to answer your question, I left last year.
Oh, it's not. It's kind of fresh.
Uniformed,
it's not,
yeah.
You sound.
But it was reserve, right? It was all reserve time. I deployed to Ukraine. Lived there for 2 years lived between Lviv and Kiev. I love the fact that I got to see Ukraine
before the war.
Before the war.
Beautiful women, huh?
There's a lot of beautiful things on the landscape.
Yeah. True that. I mean, yeah.
All right. Then what's the biggest misconception civilians have about modern warfare today, in your opinion?
At a basic level, people think it's about military capability. But if we look at the law of asymmetry, Professor Zhang, he's pretty popular recently, talks about this concept. There's 4 things that are critical to overcoming war. Military capability, yes. Pretty rifles do make a difference over jammed ones and that are economically viable. Political willpower. Does the country and voter base back such wars before you get impeached or your term ends?
I have so many questions.
Economic resilience. Can we keep it up? Do we have petroleum to go into the tanks? And the last one, which most larger states give up and don't really focus on, is narrative framing. That's that information environment and discussion of why are we attacking and doing something. That's that
propaganda, as we call it, right?
Propaganda is a definition of it. NATO calls it cognitive warfare. As of last year, they came out with this term, cognitive warfare.
How can you repeat it? How?
Cognitive warfare.
Cognitive warfare.
That's PSYOPS, psychological operations, strategic communications, information operations. Disinformation and propaganda falls under information operations, and AI. These are all old terms. They just wrapped it into one with AI now because it scales it differently, right? An example of strategic communications is when Russia invaded Ukraine, President Zelensky said, I need ammunition now to ride. And that inspires Ukrainian men who may be 50-50 about pulling the trigger to being more likely to annihilate their enemy. And that's, you can say this propaganda.
I mean, it kind of is, right? Like,
is it? Or did he truly feel that way? Because he did stay on the battlefield. I will say that.
It's like when kings would just be present in the wars, that kind of thing, just so they could give and spread their power around the soldiers, kind of thing. But wasn't that always the illusion or something?
Rally around the flag, but every country has this, right? Every country has such messaging.
Oh, it's important. I'm not arguing that. Like, it's very important. It's just like the reason why I said it could be propaganda is because, like, did he really believe that it would make any difference? It's just let's not drill down on those, but. Yeah, I mean, he did what he needed to do, basically. That's just a summary of it. And from those 4 components, which one? Like, because he asked, like, besides that, the strong military, like, weapons, rifles, whatever. Besides that, you mentioned there is information war. There is like economic resources to have legs to like go walk this marathon basically. And what was the other one?
Political willpower. So for instance,
that one.
Yeah, when a larger country attacks a smaller one, the smaller one in asymmetric law is supposed to impose cost asymmetry. We see this in the war currently, where there's drones are being used at cheap cost, and then large missiles are used at large cost. This is something that Georgia can do if they were ever to be attacked by a larger state, is to make it so strategically costly and politically disruptive that it's almost unreasonable to attack it.
Yeah, it's something similar that Jake was saying, like the stuff that Finland was doing, right? Like basically make it not worth for your enemy to attack you. Like
Yes.
make it costly for them, right? Having said that, do you think I've heard some rumors or just like some articles say that, US is, because it has such an advanced technology, they are spending so much more to just annihilate this simplistic old missiles or drones that Iran is using. Is that true? And if yes, why don't they just use the old ones, like cheaper ones, or don't they have it, or what the hell is going on? How is it making any sense to be spending so much money to kind of resist for? How does it happen that Iran is basically spending less when doing these attacks, and US, who is way more advanced in technology, they're actually spending so much more?
Yeah, let's talk strategically. So the U.S. military doctrine is to fight one-on-one with a major power in a large war. They were aligned to fighting Russia or China in warfare, a near-peer threat. A near-peer threat is basically the U.S. is saying that someone exists similar to the United States. We must fight it. And that's how they developed their defense ecosystem. That's how they developed their strategy. That's how they developed war, because they were going for conventional fighting. But in a war, currently, we're in an unconventional fight. This is hybrid threat warfare. Viewers can identify, the U.S. has published this doctrine called hybrid threat. This can be found, published. And irregular forces, this is also found and published, as well as the cognitive warfare thing. So that means the U.S. has trained best capabilities, best warfighting function, best intelligence platforms to fight that type of enemy. We're learning, and I think they already understood, that Iran is a hybrid threat. They have proxies. They have, their geopolitical terrain is mountainous. Their culture is martyrdom culture. Just taking out the head of the snake doesn't mean they're going to be removed, because that is resiliency on the internal side. Another takeaway that Georgia can do: media literacy and cultural cohesion. President Zelensky, when Ukraine went to war, he rapidly mobilized the Ukrainian people to fight back quickly and attack the logistical supply lines when Russia attacked. This is another thing that we can learn. This is the same concepts we see through history: Vietnam versus the U.S., U.S. for Iran.
Did it help though? Did it help though in the Ukraine case, like mobilizing people?
Yes, it did, because we're going to get slightly off topic. Did I answer?
No. The question was basically, because U.S. Is using such an expensive technology to kind of
about the least expensive.
That's the cost asymmetry that Iran is doing.
Is that intentional? Like that was?
Of course, their doctrine is to fight against their most likely enemy: Israel, Saudi Arabia, United States. Who are most likely to be aggressive? Israel, United States. And they know that we behave this way, and so they practice and train and strategize specifically for that. Like I said, proxies, cheaper drones, missiles, Shahed drones, all for that effort. And so when we talk Iron Dome from Israel, and we miss some of the nuance, there are, David Sling and Arrow missiles that are very expensive when Iran lobs over a missile toward Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, etc. Israel now has come out, and there's talks about lasers, which reduce costs, but these lasers have their deficiencies to degrade a missile, right? It's weather dependent, short range, and the system itself is very expensive, even though it costs dollars to use. Buy the system is expensive, and it needs to cover all of the land at once because there's a range on these things. But yeah, it's just the cost of asymmetry. making it economically expensive.
Yeah. And do you think, what's America's goal in this war? Like I've watched many different videos where I saw one guy who is like, I don't even remember his name. Like he's a politician, I think. He's been saying since 90s that Iran is working on nuclear power. Iran is gonna do it like maximum 5 years, maximum 10 years, and now finally, like they started the war against Iran because they think that they are developing nuclear weapon. Is that the reason why they're attacking, or is there something else to it? What do you think?
Nobody bothers North Korea because they have a nuclear weapon, right?
Well, what? Sorry.
Nobody bothers North Korea because North Korea has a nuclear weapon.
They have it,
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Iran, as far as I know, does not have one.
Yeah, I mean,
And if they did, they would be.
That's the battle about that. Just to destroy every and each area where they are trying to enrich the Iran, and just not to give them the opportunity to build the.
Yeah, but I mean, if they had it, then they would be untouchable, right? Like North Korea, for example.
Yeah, then that changes, of course, the situation.
Nobody can mess with you if you have a nuclear weapon, I think.
So, to talk about the Iranians, you have to understand the Shia and the Shiite, the theocracy involved in the region, and like the coming of Christ and the Armageddon in that area. If you don't understand the religious side as well as the laws of asymmetry, we won't come to a proper conclusion of what's going on in the area, because there's a long battle in history that's there, and we would have to spend some time to set the frame, and then talk geopolitically. Some say it's a little bit about oil and hegemony of Israel. Some say it's Iranian influence in the area or long-standing religious battles. But if we talk just strategically between a larger and bigger state, they just want control over the region, that's all. Between the two powers, both of the three, Israel, Iran, U.S. They're just fighting it out.
Okay.
All right. What about our country?
So what are they going to gain from this? Like, let's say they have the control in this region.
Who?
America.
America. If they have control of the region?
Yeah. Oil? Does it come down to oil?
Well, we know that the world runs on petroleum, plastic, materials, fuels for tanks, fuels for aircraft. Petroleum.
Just basically gaining more power and resources.
It's not the only reason, right? But the power of this specific critical commodity gives power to the nation that owns it. Saudi Arabia is like crazily rich because they own it, right? And so that matters. Remember I talked about semiconductors earlier and neon gas? This is a similar. Taiwan, they have a processing facility for advanced semiconductors. These are key critical components that matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was asking about our country. I mean, what do you think about our geopolitical location, and are there any risks that could happen to us, in your opinion, of course?
Yeah.
Let me also from our pain point, just to make you understand what we're trying to ask, as someone who understands these things way better than we do. Do you actually think? So we're the neighbor of Russia, right? 20% of our country is occupied by them. That they can basically do whatever they want with us, like if they wanted to.
Pause.
With respect.
Well, what do you think is the best course of action for a country such as small as ours, and how do you defend? Like Jake had a point that just basically try to make it impossibly expensive for them to even consider attacking you. That sounds good on the paper, but I don't know if that's realistic, at least in the near future. Do you think is the diplomacy the way? Do you think something else is there to it? Do you think we should be consulting to the firms, getting the help from firms like the company that you work for, basically, let's say Georgian government hires your company. What do you think you would be able to, what kind of recommendations would you be able to give us? Because we don't produce anything by ourselves. So we have like countless dependencies. Everything is important here. So if it's about like manufacturing your weaponry or something like this, then it's probably no go unless you're importing something from Russia or China again. But what if those are the ones that you are going to be protected from? Do you have to go to West and they need to provide you with something? Or what do you do basically? I know it's an impossible question, but just brainstorming here. What do you think can happen?
Yeah, I gotcha. I know that Georgia tried to join NATO and they're attempting still to. But really, Georgia should take actions of continuing intelligence sharing and NATO interoperability and being able to plug into Western strategic values, like recursive dependency on Western supply chains and incoming commodities and tools, platforms, intelligence that the West can provide. The first thing that Georgia would do as a priority, I would say, is hardening. This is critical infrastructure hardening. That's your ICT, OCT systems, your energy. You guys.
What's that? Sorry, the first one.
Oh yeah, you guys sit in a geopolitically strategic corridor for energy.
Yeah.
All right, you have access to the Black Sea. Ensuring that your desalinization plants, your electricity, your nodes to rail or nodes to your seaports are all secure. That way it makes it hard for the enemy to conduct hybrid threat against you. You already have been targets and victims to hybrid threat from Russia. Because you have territorial disputes currently, it makes it very near impossible to join NATO because of Article 5. Which gives NATO a credibility issue because Article 5 is the main reason why NATO is a thing anyways, because if you attack one, you attack all. And if you guys currently have a NATO territorial disputes with Russia, not only does it incite Russian aggression, but then do they need to now defend your territory?
Yeah.
And then they don't do it, now they're like, your Article 5 means nothing, right? And that's some NATO countries want you in, some do not. It's a risk, probabilistic risk outcome. Back to your original question, cybersecurity hardening on critical infrastructure. Number one, find your dependencies. What's the alternative? If you can't get the alternative, what's the cheap rate? Drones. I know the Baltics are great at drones. Ukraine's great at drones. These are cheap and economically viable. They can come from the Black Sea.
Yeah. Well, what if Chinese ones are cheaper?
Chinese ones are cheaper?
Yeah.
Well, we have to make strategic evaluation, right?
That's my question. Yeah, exactly. Like, is it
Ukraine buys Chinese stuff?
Still, as of now, are they still buying it? I didn't know that. No, I'm just asking.
They care about lethality. If they can get their hands on it to beat back the enemy, they'll do it.
But is China providing those just because they're kind of supporting Russia or something? I don't know.
Cheaper drones have different components, and they come from the West and the East.
Okay, so
it's
that's
kind of like
it's allowed to trade.
It depends on every country is different with their policy. When I talk, generally I'm talking from like U.S. framing. They think strategic, like if there's a world war, China's going to cut things off, right? Because we expect China to be the enemy. And so those dependencies matter. If you're a smaller country and you're having a proxy war with Russia, China might not be in the fight, so you can still buy things from them unless they sanction it or ban it, and they won't do it. But when we talk like drone warfare, there's components that are dual use. Some for like manufacturing. I'm kind of getting off topic here.
No.
It's fine.
You're actually talking about interesting stuff. Like the reason why I'm asking, like I'm trying to give you more context of where this country actually sits. Like the government is regarded as, more. We have high tension with the West, and like a lot of people think that we're leaning towards, pro-Russian government, something like this, dictatorship. Some people call it like that. I was just wondering, West has its own problems right now. Like they're basically getting their ass kicked by the Chinese manufacturing in many areas. Like I don't know if it applies to weapons specifically, but in many other areas, basically, right? That's just true. We cannot run away from that. What would be, Georgia sits on the border of Europe and Asia. We want West, but we don't know if West wants us for many different, like for example, the reason why you mentioned, right? Like if they have to support us, then the Article 5 says that they have to actually get involved in the very serious conflict. Even if not that, we can barely get our foot into the door of the European Union also. It's been going on forever. It seems like, we are either unable to qualify as a solid member that can actually get into there one day, or they don't want us. Like that's the other phrasing of it. So at some point, like what I'm thinking is like, what do you do as a small country like this? Do you depend on still the willingness of the West? Do you open your door to China? Do you try to have diplomacy with Russia, which is probably a no-go because that happened before and it never worked out for us basically. I'm just trying to give you this context and having said that, do you still think West is the best course of action for?
So if Russia ever wanted to invade South, Georgia is a key based on terrain. You guys have the mountains to your north. Mm-hmm. If you guys were to stage a defensive on that mountain ridge, land forces, it's a pain.
Sorry.
It's
because of the camera.
Yeah. It's painful. Every river, every large river, every mountain range is a nightmare for any task force commander to invade through with troops on land, and it creates choke points, right? So, I wouldn't say depend on joining NATO, but NATO looks at it through risk calculus. Are you guys invaluable enough that you should join NATO? You sit in an energy critical infrastructure corridor. Mm-hmm. That's very important. But are you guys cohesive internally? Is your government united? Are you sophisticated on your intelligence sharing and your cybersecurity hardening of your critical infrastructures?
I don't think we are.
Yeah, no, these are strong questions. Yeah.
If you guys become strong at these items, you become a more reliable partner than a dependent one. Jake was right on direction. And using Iran, Vietnam, and Ukraine as examples of how they beat back Russia,
yeah, I mean,
is
Jake's
how
idea
you guys should implement.
Jake's idea was basically to drop defensive stuff from any other countries and just pinpoint it only into Russia because this is the only country that could possibly attack us.
And well, Iran's not too far.
Give all the forces just to that, which is hypothetically more possible than any other our neighbors.
Kind of tailor your strategy to their aggression.
Well, that would be the most likely aggressor, right?
Yeah, most likely aggressor, exactly. But yeah, not the only one, though, for sure.
Okay, tell me, who would be your second most?
Well,
I'm curious.
mean, not to say that we're under like constant aggression, but throughout the history, we're in the location where you got Russia there, you got Turkey here. And
we're always in fight, yeah.
Yeah, they're also very interested in the this part of the region, so... I mean, I'm not saying that there might be anything, but Russia is definitely not the only threat, right?
So you have to do.
It's most likely, though. Yeah.
Do a probability outcome. Turkey's part of NATO. I'm pretty sure.
Is it? I don't remember.
Can you double check that?
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I'll check that.
I mean, it's not EU, but I'm not sure about
one.
NATO. Yeah. Don't remember that.
Yes.
So
they're part of fucking NATO.
If they're part of NATO, if they're part of NATO,
they cannot attack us.
If they're part of NATO, well, Turkey's influential in the region. Mm-hmm. If you guys can't align with Iran or Russia or strongly with Europe, Turkey becomes a valuable partner.
There comes the what do you call it? Theology part or something, like they're Muslims, we're Christians. So.
Well, Russia and China are very societal, like antithetical to each other, but they work together.
Do they? No, I think they kind of they might backstab each other in any second.
Well, I'm not behind their trades and secrets, but they generally are supportive of each other.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Even if Turkey doesn't like you, it's maybe in their best interest to support you, and making that alternative open trade routes or interoperability can be an alternative support partner, because they're close to, right? And I always lose my train of thought. So I wouldn't really try to put too much money on defending against Turkey, especially because they're part of NATO.
Yeah,
so we have your ministers have to make a politic statement like, will the attack come from Russia, Iran, or Turkey? And if there's a World War III, is Turkey going to turn? Yes or no? If so, what are they going to do? And strengthen that line and have an emergency switch. But still, again, law of asymmetry, critical infrastructure hardening, cheap economic warfare, make the enemy, it's costly to attack, social cohesion and media monitoring, so you're not hit with narrative framing. Like, oh, you guys are part of Russia now. Like, you just told me earlier that there's rumors of the minister siding with Russia. Is that what you told me?
No, not rumors. It's just like it's largely considered that our government is pro-Russian.
Largely considered? What do you mean? Where'd you hear that?
Like Georgian course was always getting more westernized, tried to become part of the EU. During our previous president, not that he was a great guy or something. He was a disaster. And then this new government came in 2012, and we had a hope that something would change, and at some point we would get the part of EU. But again, this is even worse at some point, in a sense. And at some point, there was a statement where our minister said that we're kind of holding the negotiations with the European Union. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but it was took as a message that we're not interested in EU right now unless they want us, unless they welcome with open hands or something. And right now it's basically paused for more than a year, so there is no ongoing negotiations not just negotiations, and no ongoing talks with the West right now. And obviously, if you're not trying to create partnership with the West, then what are your options? You got neighbor up north, Russia, and then you got China. We have visa-free travel with China right now, which is a cool thing. I won't lie, but it has some.
I've heard about that, right? Yeah. I've heard about China offering free tourist days.
Yeah, and that's going on right now.
That's super interesting. I hear they have some pretty cool cities. I just can't go, unfortunately. I don't know what they would do.
I mean, China is a fact. Like you cannot run away from it's a superpower, basically. No, well, what I mean is the reason why it's considered pro-Russian is because they at some point said no to West, and now it seems like we're flirting with Russia. For many reasons. Some think it's economical reasons. Some think it's because we're angry with with the European Union or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean that's the situation we are in right now. It's not that we have many options, but yeah, everybody here wants to be part of European Union. Most Georgians, and most Georgians consider them as a European. We're definitely not, Western Europeans, but, we're Christians. We've been here forever, one of the most ancient nations. Our culture is heavily influenced by the Asia also, but, it's a mixture. We're more Western than Eastern. At least that's what we think. And at some point, you're trying to become the part of the community you feel more connected to, right? But there are many complications. You're not up to their standards, obviously, and you cannot qualify to be the member of the EU, and for sure, definitely not for NATO. And it just never happened, since the breakdown of Soviet Union. We've been trying to get there, at least after 2000s for sure. We had some progress, like visa liberalization in 2017 or 18, I believe. And that was it. And then things took the wrong turn, and now here is where we are. We're not sure what the hell is going on. We're just here sitting, observing. Everybody's bombing each other. Like I said, God knows what's going to happen.
You guys want to join, huh? Why aren't we
Well, we'd love to, but we don't have the legs to stand on.
Okay, you sound like you're being left out there. Sorry. So sorry.
Well, it's just we're like a small country with a big heart, basically.
So, it's not all doom and gloom just because you can't be part of the cool kids club, right?
Yeah, that sucks.
It's a good way to put it.
That sucks, yeah.
Right?
Everyone is already the major. We're just in the kindergarten, so.
Like right now, I'm not like that's not even my point. Like, obviously, we understand we can never be that important country on the global stage. We had that chance like 10 centuries ago, I think. Just in 12th century, like we've been an important part of the world. But that was it. Like since then, it's been only downhill. And now we survived, which is a big win for us, basically. We have our own language, our own religion, our own alphabet. But yeah, very small land left, unfortunately. Very scary neighbors all around. And yeah, like we're basically flirting with everyone who is willing to flirt.
Yeah, gotcha. So there's alternative strategies that you guys can take. I did mention you guys sit in a very critical corridor that deals with energy, right? One thing that Georgia can do is invest in these energy resources and alternatives for Europe or for Russia or for Turkey or for Iran. As Iran is a throw-in option, right? That way it becomes costly to attack you. For instance, if you attack Iran, there's going to be a shortage of processing of advanced semiconductors. If you attack Ukraine, there's going to be a shortage of wheat because they produced a very large portion of wheat. And then during COVID, I mean, where did the toilet paper go? Right? So you can also be so important that even your enemies are like, we'd rely on them. We probably shouldn't bother them because it's going to hurt us.
So the game is get resources, produce something.
No, seriously. So like Iran right now is blocking the Strait of Hormuz for petroleum, making it extremely costly for everybody.
I heard the other day that they even opened the market for Russians, like even Americans. Is that true?
I'm not sure. Iran doesn't attack Dubai because their allies trade and they conduct economic trade. So
basically, Dubai is a collateral right now, like
because it hurts them to attack. They want to, but they're like, it's not worth it, right?
Yeah.
And so that is a strategy that Georgia can implement, other than just the the asymmetric lawfare clauses that I mentioned earlier, such as hardening critical infrastructure. What you don't want to be is just an easy target, like Venezuela to the U.S.
A peaceful country.
Yeah.
When Russia attacked Ukraine.
Oh yeah, Venezuela.
when Russia attacked Ukraine, they were going for a quick, fast victory, cheap, easy. Don't have to argue with my constituents.
Yeah, I mean that's of course understandable.
You can't just be
don't want to
dancing on
be easy
reggaeton all the
targets,
time.
of course, and there are strategies for that. But technically, what we want is just to advance and just flourish and just actually try to be something more than we are in the current situation. So that's the hard part to achieve, and to be on par with some actually large countries. No, I'm not saying by military force, just by the lifestyle and so on. So basically, that's what we want. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to be peaceful and in a constant developing state when there are too many threats all around. When easily they can destabilize your economy, you have too many dependencies. Honestly, your company, now that I understand what it does, I don't even think we would qualify as a client, as a country, because we have so many dependencies.
No, you definitely would, right? Because, AI and automation make things cheaper, right? And so originally, to get the same sophistication...
We should hook you up with our government, to be honest.
I would appreciate that, even if it's just a conversation. So before, to have the same sophistication of open source intelligence and its outputs, you need a team of 50, 100, 200 analysts. The AI now makes that, you need like 5.
Is that a new trend right now? I mean, obviously the market is going that way, like the AI market, like kind of niching down to certain type of things. So I heard the other day, like he might be our potential guest, by the way, just guy from New York. He has an AI startup also. And what he does is like, just right now we have a conversation. He transcribes it, and if you feed that transcription to his AI, it will only catch the kind of, how do you call it? Like the most important stuff that can be for potential new business. So we had like various discussions about different topics, right? So this AI catches the right sentences that trigger potential idea. So based on our experiences, like it figures out like how we think, and like if we as a 3-person can be a market for something, basically, you know what I mean?
So
obviously
it writes like the ideas for the business, or?
Yeah, or as a potential client. So basically, like, what are we right now? We're humans, like the 3 separate individuals, but and together we form a market, like a unit or something. And we're having this podcast right now. That's already an information. We even mentioned our backgrounds at some point, and like we are in Georgia, and then we gave like all the other information. So it's like it works in a way, it's coded in a way that it only catches this important stuff. I don't know exactly how like there are too many ifs in the logic. But yeah, it would give this analysis that, like the report that, okay, here's the new market of 3 people, that there might be potential to do something with them, basically. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that it sounds a lot like your company is doing something similar, but on a very large scale and in a more complicated way, I think.
No, like I said, we work with ministries of defense or interior procurement, or however you structure your ministries, and we inform them intelligently. So like I said, bringing it back to the military for uniformed folks listening, there are warfighting functions, and each function works through interoperability with each other to make a cohesive plan. Intelligence is the eyes and the ears of anyone that uses it, so they can make a cohesive and intelligent plan. Without it, a lot of folks, like the truest institution, they deal with risk, generally banks. A lot of decision makers, they go off of, I've done this for 30 years. I feel it in my wrist that we should take a left. But we know
gut
that...
feeling kind of thing.
Yes, gut instinctual feeling.
What you mean.
We know, the Truist Institute is very well known, that we, even with all of our data and years of experience, make our bias and subjectivity enter into our decisions, and we make worse outcomes.
Yeah.
That's why it's best to use a quantified methodology based on the information that you have. AI helps do this. I'm not saying that it completely replaces the analyst, but it removes low and mid-level analysts.
And that's actually was my next question. I mean, do you think that AI intelligence actually replacing analysis, or is it amplifying them?
Oh, it most definitely
It
is,
amplifies and reduces the not so good ones. So the senior analysts who are good, that makes into a strategist. So the new way of information, I'm not talking just defense, but for business, they call it competitive intelligence analysis. And so businesses at the enterprise level have a CIA team, competitive intelligence analysts, not those other folks, that inform executives what's going on with the enterprise and what's going on with the competitors, so they can make sure that their market, their product, continues to win. Without this information flow, they're guessing. And what does guessing do? You make mistakes. And how can you tell your stakeholder, I made a 5-year plan, but you don't know the landscape? Now your joint venture's like, you're not giving me my ROI I expected. And they lose trust and faith, right?
Are you guys essentially a tech company?
Yeah, I would say so.
How
I
does
call
it-
this intelligence boutique.
Yeah,
open
it's
source,
a very
open
fancy
source,
way to call it, but
unclassified
You're-
open source information, right?
But you're selling the product, like basically, it's a tool.
The product are multiple AI models. That's just literally like you have a platform that does bells and whistles and shows a map, heat map.
How does it work technically? Like you know, it's not into too much details, but like let's say I'm the bank, and we have like some of the issues that you just described. You know, we make decisions based on gut feeling. Basically.
I'll give you a better one. Hedge funds. We work with hedge funds.
So what's your normal work day? Just
Yeah.
describe that to us.
Oh, no, sorry. First, I want to hear this. Like, how does it work technically? Like,
Yeah, so like hedge funds, joint ventures, banks, they want to make decisions that give them a profit. So
Yeah.
what are the kind of things that they look at? What risk signals? Insurance companies do this too, so they can make a predictive analysis as best as possible to predict the future. They look at mergers and acquisitions. They look at stock trading. They look at which companies are going bankruptcy or have filed bankruptcy or showing signals leading to bankruptcy. They show business continuity issues, and you can measure this comparatively. And instead of just giving you risk signals, quantify it. What are the baseline?
no, I understand the methodology. Like, my question is more like technically, how does it work? Like, how
Automated collection and triage of the information environment. This is
like
and
you
the
get into
internet.
my system, or you do the market research or
internet.
whatever.
I just need to connect to the internet.
Okay, but like let's say so I'm a bank. Like I have my own data, which is super unclean. Like I cannot make sense of it. Basically.
Okay, natural language processing. So we look at your structured data, and based on the language or the English, oh, it doesn't have to be English. It's multilingual.
Yeah.
We can so let's say you have documents. You have an assortment of different kind of documents, but it's all text based. Through English, Spanish, Russian, doesn't matter. I can't go into great detail, but through natural language processing, the AI learns what the document is and it categorizes it like that, with a relevancy score and a confidence score. So if this document is maybe mixed and it doesn't fit into a particular event, events could be legal, event category could be criminal, equity. And they sort it into these documents, and now we start layering in where these documents fit, in which category, which event, at which intensity, and just doing that takes away low-level analytical work that nobody wants to do, and it does it quickly and fast.
I know what you mean. Like a lot of legwork, right?
So then I can focus on attribution. I can focus on context, because you still need a human in the loop for judgment and context to be a strategist of what the information is saying. This is how a data analyst, when they first get something in an Excel spreadsheet, they show the data visualization. Like, the trend shows it's going up during this time period, and they explain it to you. Similar process. And then you said modern 9 to 5?
Yeah, I just said that's basically what you just explained.
Oh, no.
What's your work day?
Not quite. So 9 to 5 as an intelligence guy?
Yeah.
Or through my business?
No, I mean, what's your work day? Yeah, as a 9 to 5, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's what we're all about, right?
Yeah.
Modern 9 to 5.
Intelligence analysis, analyst, data analyst. We all generally do the same thing. We research and we discover. We put together nuance. We put together the context based on the business or defense requirement, what they want. Traditional intelligence, SCIF, secured facility, top secret, confidential information. Maybe Windows, probably not. And when we do intelligence analysis based on this secret information, that looks like a general 9 to 5, with the exception of crises, which then we do longer shifts or maybe night shifts. And we report, maybe that's an admiral, a commander, the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Homeland Security, or his or her vice. And we explain situation in a nice, easy roll-up, because they may not be intel officers, right?
And you work fully remotely, right?
No, you cannot. Cannot. Most people cannot work remotely when they're dealing with classified information.
But you move around a lot.
I move around because we deal with open source information. This is the internet that's not classified.
Huh. Okay.
But basically, I mean,
so your role is specifically nice. It's
Well, when you aggregate information together, it can become classified. But what is the policy together when you you're a private company, Czech Republic, and you model someone's defense industrial base? Is that classified? Does policy say that's classified? Because it's on the internet.
okay.
How do we deal with that? But that's a problem that's coming because if I'm doing it, China and Russia's doing it.
Yeah.
And they don't have rules.
Exactly.
So if you don't get with the point, Minister, you're going to find yourself at a loss.
I think you're touching like bigger problem of the European Union right now, the bureaucracy.
I'm not saying any specific country is doing right or wrong. They are in their best. They're working in their best interest.
And when someone is hiring you,
Well,
basically
but don't you have it like I want to hear your opinion about that. Sorry.
Oh,
he just said no, so
No, I mean, but you have to. Like you just said that
Off protocol,
China
off
and
protocol.
Russia have it easier in terms of like they don't have this rules that too many blockers basically.
No guardrails. So like, cybersecurity was like yeah, get out of here.
we're gonna get canceled. So
And
We're not that important.
On the
man.
20,000s, they said, yeah. We don't care about network security. Our admins can control credentials. Yeah, social engineering. What's that? Now it's serious. We're talking quantum almost here, quantum security and post-quantum security world. They could significantly matter because one person can hack into your critical infrastructure and stop you from your electricity grid.
Yeah.
Like that if you didn't do it. So it's just like an education of, asymmetrical warfare. We're talking that critical force narrative framing and information environment. There's just a higher concept with AI.
I mean, what I'm interested in, that's good. But what I'm interested in, Kyle, is so basically anyone can hire you if they want to. So you can work for even for the enemies if they would just one hire for them, and on the
Maybe
next
he's a
day
spy
another
for
one
Russia.
is hiring you.
So my company does not do business with Russia or China.
So you have that in your as a person, or is it in the contract, or
I mean,
how
it's
does
a
that go?
Czech Republic company. So
No, I mean,
It's an
So-
EU
so-
company, right? And in the Shenzhen area, and the CEOs does not do business.
So what's gonna happen if you're gonna have a business with them?
with
gonna get
European
fired.
Union?
Yeah, no.
With Russia, China?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
he'll be
This is
sanctioned.
this is
I
speculative.
assume.
Just asking,
it's speculative,
yeah.
right? Because people sell data to China and Russia.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm asking. So basically, I mean, if one day,
Could you sell the data to Russia or
Well,
China?
let me excuse
If
me.
one
It's
day-
intelligence. We
if
do more than
one
data.
day-
Excuse me.
if one day, for example, the Russia or China wants to have contact with you, and they just pay you more just to.
Do they really do that, or do they just steal
I'm
it?
just asking. I'm just asking.
Yeah,
if-
I mean, you know this. We have no idea, honestly. Like that's why. Like I was also very curious, because they have it so easy. Like basically,
because
no
you
rules
have
and
access
stuff.
to a vast of information based on what you're explaining. So
We're not the only company, right?
Well, yeah,
Right.
that yes, but
Well, I mean,
whoever pays
there's
more.
risk, right? If let's say we were open to selling to China, what is
Okay.
China known for doing? They're known for just stealing the IP and taking it from you. I'm not saying that Western companies don't do that. There's fights in the defense industry for like protecting IP. It's normal business activities. But I'm going to give you the straight. I know my CEO would say absolutely not. Don't even ask us this insulting question, right? Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like when you were explaining how you guys do business, basically, taking all this data and analyzing with your intelligence, smart intelligence. I don't think some of the traditional banks would ever actually, like some of the risk departments, basically would not allow for such service. Basically, when I was asking, your service might be very beneficial to the bank I work for. I don't think our risk department would allow that.
No, they would. They actually love it. Actually, so we
Really?
want. If
Are
we're
you
working
just
with
selling me or
no. If we work with a company, we want the company to be mature enough that they have a risk division or department because they can understand.
They have it, but what if the risk department is kind of blocking too many things? I mean, how you basically need the access on all of our data, right?
Not necessarily, right? So there's ways that there are solutions, maybe using AWS's infrastructure, right? There's S3, there's cloud buckets, there's API feeds. We can dump the information into a folder that sits on a cloud that only you have access to, and we just update this data hourly, quarterly, daily, depending on your needs. We don't have to see the queries that you want from it.
But for you to understand and analyze the data, you would have to take this data, right, from us.
But you would tell us what you want. So a key issue with defense is they don't really want to. They don't want you to know what they want because this is intelligence requirements.
Yeah.
Generally, it's classified, and so there's ways around that. They can ask a large grab of information, so they obscure the requirement. We don't know what they want. We just know that they care about Asia, right? Or we come to an agreement. I'm talking defense. Like now one of us is NATO secret, and we have to go in and have conversations, and I interpret the requirement of what they want without telling my company what they care about. This is a way to obscure the requirement, or we can just give them everything at a reasonable price and update it, but we don't see the queries.
Yeah, I mean that's
it just really depends how close.
That's interesting and scary also because, well, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, work for your company.
It depends. It depends. Yeah, it depends on the company. It depends. I mean, can I trust these people? I mean, and they might provide me the valid information, but they also might sell all that information that I gave to them.
We really don't take in information. Like if we're talking supply chain, we can do a blind pilot. So
what's that?
So whenever companies try to show proof of what their capabilities can do, they call it like a proof of concept or pilot.
Yeah.
Let's say your bank cares about their competitors. The other competitors in Georgia, their competitors. So we're going to do competitive intelligence analysis. We're going to look at the supply chain of all your competitors and give it to you as mapped. This is done. This is normal stuff done. This is competitive intelligence analysis of your competitors. That way you can stay in line with what they're doing, what they're procuring, who they're acquiring, what tech they're taking in. And then you're like, what's my position on this? So it gives your executives decisions, informed, data-driven decisions for better outcomes. If you can make a 5-year deal with your ministry of $5 million, you want to pay us $100K? I just informed you on the $5 million deal, and my money doesn't scale. You can buy from us the same amount of information. It generally doesn't scale.
Do you guys work only for expensive clients, like
minimum would be like $20K. We would ask minimum $20K.
Because I'd really like to use your services one day.
It's $20K, right? So think about this. We're asking, that's the minimum. That's like basic intelligence. This is not like, I'm not going to tell you who's invading sanctions.
Can we call you like, the company AI consultancy, basically? Is that it?
We don't do, I do intelligence solutions. So I do some consulting, and we help you work through the program if you were to buy. But for contrast, $20K, you get basic intelligence and risk signals. What's the annual income of an analyst at a bank here?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, well, not that much, but a good one. Let's call it $3,000 a month.
What's $20,000 a year?
Well,
that's the same. Like what,
yeah,
2,000.
Really depends on what you're gonna give. Like that. I mean, is it worth even for the?
But what's the analyst doing the whole time? Research, collection, triage, and then
and you can do it faster
analysis.
Also.
Yeah, I can do it instantly.
Oh,
because
yeah.
you'll
at a better rate. It's not hungover on Fridays.
That makes sense.
It speaks 12 languages.
Yeah.
It fine tunes exactly
Does it
what you want.
understand Georgian?
No,
I'm assuming not.
In 12, Georgian won't be there. Yeah.
I'd be willing to invest in market research here.
It takes us about 2 months to get a language kick running. If you want historical information, we go back 10 years, on 11 now, on historical data. So this is research, trends analysis, comparisons. When you look at historical trends and analysis, that is a way to predict the future, what happened in the past. But for Georgian language, two months to get it up and running, because we have to train the AI, get it collecting, and then map the data. One more ad. Most important information happens globally, ends up in English anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, well, why don't you guys go B2C at some point? You know,
just-
like do the SaaS. Because
We wanna work with
I'd actually be willing to buy the subscription of this kind of services.
Journalists do. They can.
I could use your tool.
Journalists can. We do have a free trial too. So hold on. Remember, we are intelligence infrastructure. We're the engine behind an actual platform. We don't sell a platform. However, we have data navigators, kind of like a shopping tool to kind of see what our data can look like and do.
Like, will it give me better value in comparison to Claude, ChatGPT?
You're talking
Gemini?
large language chat models. We
Yeah.
have a chat model integrated into the data navigator, not platform. But for a regular analyst, for a low-level mature company not using AI, our navigator is pretty darn good already because it's doing analysis and you can talk to it already. But if you're a mature company at the enterprise level, let's say Siemens, okay, they need to buy a custom package of intelligence because our basic function it's not good enough, it's not clean. They're not going to pay a lot of money for it. But you can free trial at semantic-visions.com. You can free trial, it's called SVI. Please, it's a 30-day trial to kind of see like the knicks, knacks of how it works conceptually. Not everything is there. It's not going to be a custom intelligence package. For instance, I can tell the Ministry of Defense like what companies are importing, exporting through customs and link them. And that could look like normal trade. They could look like sanctions evasions. That could look like dual-use tech, drone proliferation. These things we can answer.
What's the basic, advantage you guys have over those other AI giants?
Advantage?
Yeah. Like, what do you do differently?
Basically,
yeah.
why should someone hire you?
A lot of
No, I mean, do you have access on something different than they do, or is it just basic configuration that's different from them?
So it's a proprietary solution. It's the combination and methodology and work that the analysts put into it that builds the product. So an advantage is that, let me start structurally. Platforms intake data. They buy from data vendors and they themselves fuse it together to produce an output. Semantic Visions is the engine, the soul. It's the one where we own our information, we own our data. We buy if we need to buy something to aggregate information, we own that too. And so a platform just needs to buy from us, and we customize exactly what they want at a higher level of intelligence. So the platform doesn't really need to do any platform development.
Okay.
They just work with us. Or the best thing about us is I like to call it intelligence infrastructure. If a ministry wants to do their internal models and intelligence apparatus, they could just buy our engine. Develop buy from in-house. Because remember, the U.S. does buy or sell. I'm sorry. They do a build or buy analysis. Should we just buy it from a contractor to do it for us? Or should we build our own? A lot of times they just don't have the money, time, or the credentials to build it in-house. So they use a lot of money to buy a professional platform. We can develop it in-house with you very easily. The only particular with that is that requires classified operations. So we have to be embedded with them. This is what Palantir does with the U.S.
Okay.
Thanks. This was all very insightful.
Oh, yeah.
I think we can wrap this up. And one last question: what do you think is going to happen in the world?
In what way?
Oh, the war is going on and stuff. Just your prediction. How long it's going to take to get things the way they were? I don't know when. Like in 2019, maybe. Very complex question.
Yeah. So it's a large question, right?
Yeah. Just. I
mean, we're already
gut feeling.
We're already at war.
No way.
Economically.
True.
This is occurring.
It's easy.
It's all about. NATO mentioned it. Cognitive warfare. It's the sentiment at the decision maker and at the public level of legitimacy of every country. Everyone's at each other's throat,
Yeah.
whether that's the Shia and Shiite, or the economic statecraft between U.S. and China, or Russia and Ukraine, to defend against the different
What's going to
theories,
happen there?
right?
Your prediction?
Russia, Ukraine?
Yeah. How is it going to end?
A man in my position doesn't make predictions because it doesn't age well.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, just your, I'm just very
He
curious.
already gave you the answer. So.
So
I mean,
it doesn't age well.
I mean, you don't have to make a statement, like just, opinion. Everybody's allowed to have an opinion, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, I wish for the Ukrainian people to obtain the freedom
Don't we all?
they
Yeah.
desire.
good answer.
Is
Good
it going to happen, though?
Smart answer.
I like my Eastern European bread. You know the bread I'm a fan of here in Eastern Europe. It's so nice.
Just bread? I mean, the girls are, also fun. I mean, you can see some of them in Dubai already, but even Dubai is getting kind of bombed nowadays. So
Yeah.
fucking hell,
Well, I
like-
guess right now I think I'm gonna go bachata dance. I'm actually a dancer. I like do Latin dancing.
You can dance
he's
bachata?
not just all,
Yes, I have 10
An
years.
army man can dance bachata?
10
I was also
years.
surprised,
How did
yeah.
that... You're a dancer for 10 years?
Yes.
You never mentioned that. That's also interesting part.
It gives the vibes that, the...
When did you have time to
when
do
you
that?
have this perception of tough guy in the real world, and when you see them like the MMA fighters, some of them have purple hair and stuff.
Are you joking or...
No, seriously.
No,
like
he's a bachata
I
dancer.
know exactly where I'm
I-
going after this.
I
He
don't
just
believe...
kills people
Where are you going?
on the battlefield. And
So
then
it's next to the church, the Saint.
Marjanishvili Street. Yeah.
Right now, it's...
Bro, that's the thing. Like,
stops at 2 a.m.
foreigners come here to this country. They do
people
all
dance
sorts of
bachata
different
there?
things.
There are Georgian ladies that are excellent at dancing bachata. Yes. I mean, I'm going to go see. I haven't done it. I haven't danced here yet, so we'll see.
Well, I hope you're not too late because we took so much time of you.
No worries. It went by quick.
Kyle, thank you so much, brother. It was an honor for us to have you here. Your insights have been very valuable, I hope, for at least some of our audience. We usually joke around way more than we did in this episode. That has to do something with
But no,
us being
stage
tired.
was all his, so...
Yeah, your type of guest that actually, very captivating, I would say. You actually have something to talk about. This is me not being interruptive, so that should tell you something, guys. Every time I interrupt our guests.
He was just tired.
Yeah, that's also true. But I was also enjoying the conversation. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
Subscribe us, bitches. See you next time. Bye.